Hello YouTube! In this video I'm going to show you how to install a ceiling fan mounting bracket. Now this video is just made up of clips from my full-length video where I show you how to install can lights and as well as the fan itself, run new wires through walls and through the ceiling, etc. So if you want to check that out, I'll provide the link below, and while you're down there you may as well click on the subscribe button. Let's go! Alright, this is how the ceiling mount works. So the first thing you do is put this up the hole, and then these little A pieces or A brackets will sit on the other side of the ceiling sheetrock. And then you will go and twist this, and it will extend this bar out until it reaches the joist. And then it's going to have these little pokey stabber pieces that stab into the joist, and that'll hold it nice and firm. Then once it's up in the hole, you run this bracket over top like this. Alright, you get the idea. And then this, of course, will mount up to the bracket with the included hardware. There's also a ground bolt here that you can put in this little corner, and then you can run your ground to this. There will be a ground for the fan mounting bracket and ground for the actual wire coming in here, and they can all be grounded together in one nut. And so I'll probably just cut an extra length of wire, have a ground wire over here to be able to do that. So that's how that works. Next step of this project is to cut the hole for the fan. I found the exact center of the room, and that's the hole that you drilled. I also drilled a hole that I can use to start with my Sawzall or my jigsaw, whatever you want to call those. And I drew the circle with the box that came from the ceiling fan mounting kit, which will go up inside. But I thought that would be a great way to know how big the hole is. I don't have a drill bit that's this size, so I'm gonna have to use my Sawzall, and we'll get through the drywall. I need to be careful because I know there's a wire running up here, so I don't want to go too deep with the blade, just deep enough to cut out the sheetrock. I did a dry fit with the mounting bracket. I just hammered it up with my mallet. Yeah, it's a nice tight fit, that's what she said, but that should work great. So, the video is made up of clips of a full-length video that I made where I install 6 can lights in addition to this ceiling fan in the middle of the room. Now, of course, I'm running the brand new wire through the ceiling to these holes, and that's the wire that I'm going to run through the ceiling fan mounting bracket there in the center. Now I'm sticking up the ceiling mount rod with those A brackets on the side that attach and secure themselves to the joists. Now this process was a little tricky and took a little bit of time, and I did run into an issue which we will talk about later on in this video, but you can't just put the bracket up there if you're connecting to the joist. You might need to, in this case, add some extra wood pieces for more security. When I was tightening that up, the ceiling mount brace came apart. The problem is the teeth are at the top, but this is connecting to the drywall, and the joist looks like this. So the joist has a bottom piece like so, and so the mounting was only hitting the bottom and the teeth weren't getting into this part. So what I've done is taken some 3/4 inch scrap wood that I had, and I'm going to set this on top of the joist so that those teeth have something to bite into, and that'll be more secure. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully this helps if you run into a similar problem with a fan mounting bracket like this. I of course lathered these up with my favorite liquid nails first so that they stay secure. It's another vertical video, but I have the piece in line with the hole, and you can see it sitting right on top of that lip of the joist at the bottom. And I made sure that I wasn't blocking any holes or anything like that. And then I just need to do one more on the opposite side. There we go. Now you can see this teeth have something to bite into, and this shouldn't go dancing around like last time. Once that's mounted and pretty firm, it's a little tricky to get that up here, but it's pretty stable now. You take the top part of the mounting bracket and go up over and center it around the top of your hole. I kind of have to just eyeball it at first, but then take the mounting bracket and you'll want to run the wire through one of these holes. The center hole will be covered by the mounting bracket, so you want to pick one of the other holes or a side hole. I'm going to go for a side hole. That needs to be punched out. I punched a hole out on the side, and you can see there's a little rough metal point edge. And inside the box, it comes with this little clip, and this is meant to send the wires through and not have them contact this little jagged edge of metal. So you want to install that as well. And there's a direction that these go where the wires are going into the box. It's pretty obvious when it's going in this way, and that'll help it prevent tugging of any kind. And I went ahead and installed the ground wire too. I cut some extra wire and just took the ground wire here and put it around my box. The next step is to run the wire through the plastic piece and then finish mounting the box with all the included hardware from the package. You'll feed the wire into the box far enough for the box to sit flush with the drywall. You'll need to spin the box around to make sure that it lines up with the bolts that are coming down from the bracket you just put on top. After you line up the box with the bolts that are coming down from the bracket above, you will secure them with nuts that are provided in the package. And lastly, there will also be some screws that you need to secure to the box. There we go. Now the ceiling bracket is installed for the fan. And I've tightened up the bolts to the little bracket and then added these screws here, and we're good to go. Next is actually getting the fan up. I need to install the fan mounting bracket to these two screws here. All right, here's our new fan mounting bracket. This one looks pretty heavy duty compared to the ones that I've used in the past. So as far as the mount is concerned, we'll undo these two screws, and then this will slide right up there. And then we add the screws back and it holds it in place. It's that easy. Now I'm not going to show how I install the entire fan. You can read the instructions for your fan, but just wanted to point out that the ground for the mount, the ground for the ceiling mount, and the ground from the wire, I had those backwards, but all the grounds get wire nutted together here. Then you just continue the process of installing the wires for the fan. Black goes to black, white goes to white. In my situation, my fan only has black and white. You might have a fan that has a blue wire, and that's to independently control the fan with a separate light switch if you wanted to do that. I have another video you can check out on how I was able to install a wall mount to run the fan and the light at separately from the single switch. There you go, now the fan's installed. I really like this fan. It's very low profile. Let's see how it works. I have to keep this switch turned on in order to use the fan, so I'll probably just always leave that on. Now you control this particular fan with a remote control. So if I click the power button, it'll do a little startup cycle, and it'll do this every time it starts brand new, or fresh, I should say. And then it gets going to its previous settings. Now here I can also turn the light on. And its light is a little bit different of a color. I can change the can lights to match. We'll see what the wife says. But overall, I'm really happy with this fan. It definitely opens up the space. Well, there you go. I hope this video has helped you learn how to install a ceiling fan mounting bracket. It's relatively easy. I did run into a few issues with the joist, but if you're going up against 2x4s, it's not a big deal. So thanks for watching, and as always, if you didn't like my video, then feel free to go make your own.